Hey Deckers, in case you missed it in the book of patch notes that was released by Larian Studios, you would have missed the fact that they actually added FSR 2.2. This is absolutely fantastic. It should have released with this, but if you haven't already completed the game and you are looking to play on the Steam Deck, this makes a huge difference for the better. As you can see now in the menu, we have the choice of AMD FSR 1 and FSR 2.2. And for the most part, I will be recommending to run this on balanced. And just as a reminder, just how good FSR 1.0 looked, you can see that it's quite a difference. And that was even on the quality mode. Whereas remember, most of the time, most of us were playing on FSR balanced or quality. And you can see just how good FSR 1 quality is right here. So, huge difference for FSR 2.2, and we'll take a look at some of the other settings as well, as we've tweaked a couple of things once we've been playing around with these settings. Now, FSR 2.2 is hugely better, as you can see with the side-by-side here, just how much clearer FSR 2 is. And we are going to make a very minor compromise on some FPS, but for the graphics gain, it is well worth it. For the rest of our settings, FSR 2.2 on balanced, frame cap at 40, start with the overall medium preset and then drop the shadow quality and cloud quality down to low, as well as the animation level of detail to low. Turn anti-aliasing off, you'll see why in just a minute, and God rays, bloom and subsurface scattering off as well. You can see moving around, we are still going to dip under the 30 range occasionally, but it's not hugely noticeable as much as the pop-in that still occurs anyway. It takes a little while for some of that stuff to render during some of those scenes, but the movement is much less janky. Now, if you do put anti-aliasing up on TAA, oh my goodness, this just looks absolutely hideous. It's so blurry, it's absolutely horrible. I don't know why TAA is a thing with FSR 2 enabled. You can put the anti-aliasing on the SMAA and it doesn't look too bad, but there is still a slight amount of blurriness that's introduced with that, so it doesn't make a huge amount of difference. You can keep that on, but I just prefer to keep the anti-aliasing off when using the FSR 2.2, as that seems to do a good job of doing it for you. Now, FSR 2.2 Ultra quality does look the best, however we do take a huge hit out of the frames per second here, and although 20 to 30 frames per second is playable, the jankiness and the jerkiness is really apparent when you're moving around, and it really doesn't feel good at all. Quality you might be able to get away with in most situations, but I still felt that quality mode still gave a bit of input latency and also just didn't feel the best, especially when we were out and about. So I left this on FSR 2.2 balanced. Even with the balance mode, you are still going to be dipping into those low 20s occasionally when running through high density areas, but it's not as noticeable as it was before. And as I'm nearing the end of Act 2 here, it really is much better than it was on FSR 1 and the previous settings that we had. So although FSR 1.1 does still give a slightly better FPS advantage on balance, it doesn't look very nice at all. But once we're in battles with FSR 2.2, things just look absolutely fantastic, and the fact that it just plays very well and stays over the 30 frames per second, closer to the 40 frames per second a lot of the time, even when some big effects go off. I really am much happier playing this on the Steam Deck now with the FSR 2 enabled. Let us know in the comments below if this is enough to draw you back in, or how much of a difference that you've seen once you've turned this on during your current playthrough. Great to see all of these updates still coming from Larian Studios, and I know they're still looking at some performance tweaks for Act 3, and I'm sure I'm going to see just how bad that is very soon. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.